Welcome back to section 2 of the Best Practices Expo. I tell you what, we were blessed with a great presentation with Chancellor and her team from ALEAF, and we're looking forward to Edinburgh's presentation. Just want to remind you of a few things we discussed before session one, just in case you're just now joining us. Because the audience is so large, everyone will be muted and will not be able to unmute yourself. It's not because we're trying to be rude, or it's not because we don't want interaction, but when you've got 500 plus people, we're just trying to keep the session running smoothly, and we don't want to experience any unintended confusion. So that's the reason why you're muted. But if you have a question for us or the presenter, please write it in the chat room. And then if we, at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A, and we try to write down the questions as they come up, so we'll be ready to ask them at the end of the session. If the same question comes up multiple times, then we'll stop the presenter and ask the question during the session. Our second group of presenters are from Edinburg ISD. They're located down in the valley and are part of Region 1. Presenting with us today are Sandra Rodriguez, Dr. Eddie Marino, and Gina Alamia. Strap in and prepare to receive another set of new tools that you can grow and use to grow and enhance your PFE program. I know you're going to hear some great things today. So let's give Edinburg ISD a warm wave of welcome. Welcome. Sandra, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you, Skip, Katie, Matthew, and Shannon. Thank you so much, Region 16, and thank you everyone for being here. Good morning. I'm really excited. So much has been happening, and we're so excited to hear from Chancellor and ALEAF and all the other great districts that have shared with us already in the best practices presentation. So I have a lot of great shoes to fill, right? Being the last one for this school year, but we're really excited to be here. Dr. Eduardo Moreno, that's with us. He is our Assistant Superintendent for Technology Services. Ms. Gina Alamia, she is our Technology Integration Specialist, and they're part of the great team that we have here in the Edinburg School District. So Title I Family and Community Engagement, best practices. What are we doing different? You know, what were we doing before? What are we doing now to make sure that we continue doing all the great things that we're doing for our families, our students, and our community? So why isn't it not letting me go on? Okay, Matthew, why isn't it letting me change the screen?
Let's see, stop share.
I'm going to stop share, go back in.
Then whenever you hit share screen again, make sure that you're selecting the program and not what's appearing on your desktop.
There you go.
And maximize that.
There we
full
go.
screen.
Awesome. Got it. Thank you so much. So Edinburg CISD, we are in the tip of Texas, South Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Edinburg is a 3-time All-America city. We're very fortunate to have a UTRGV here in Edinburg CISD, Edinburg City, and of course our Region 1 Education Service Center. We are a very close, tight-knit team with Region 1, and I'm very fortunate to work with great family and community engagement directors from all across the region, and I'll share a little bit about that later. Chancellor, 33.3, I think, square miles, right? In ALEAF, we're 945 square miles in the Edinburg School District. We're the biggest and fastest growing city in our region. You know, we have still so much land and growth for our families. It does make it one of the largest in the nation. We serve over 33,000 students right now. Due to the pandemic, we have lost some students because they've had to move. They've had to double up with other families. And we're really just fortunate to have all the students that we have and serve in Edinburg. We serve about 87% economically disadvantaged students in the district. Most of our students live in colonias, and we'll talk about our colonias and the students that we serve. We have over 4,900 employees in the school district. We are one of the largest employers in Region 1. We have 43 campuses that we serve that are Title I. We do have full day pre-K. We have open enrollment, and we have a parental involvement assistant at every campus. Is that good? Awesome.
Did you click on the present?
On the what?
Did you click on the present tab?
I think so, did I? So Dr. Moreno just walked in. When I have technical difficulties, he'll run to my rescue. So everyone can see the screen fine?
You just need to expand it to a full screen slideshow.
So why is it not?
Just at the very bottom, Sandra, if you see the little presentation mode icon, it's right next to the Zoom.
Present.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome.
Move to the next slide.
Okay.
Test it.
Just making sure it works. Okay, awesome. Thank you. He had to come from upstairs too to help me. You see, all heroes wear capes, and he is one of my heroes. So we do have, of course, open enrollment, and at every campus we have, I know a lot of our districts call them liaisons. We have parental involvement assistants, and we'll get into that in a minute. So like Ms. Terry said, my name is Sandra Rodriguez. I am the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator for the Edinburg School District. I've been with Edinburg for 28 years. I don't know how, because I'm 25. And it's been great to be here. I've worked with Skip. I've worked with Terry for many years when Mr. Porras was still here with us. And so I love what I do, and I love working with families and being able to share with them and help them grow, you know, because we grow every day. So what are colonias? We have a lot of colonias in the Edinburg School District. Your colonias are your substandard housing developments. Most of these colonias, the families pay $50 for the lot or the piece of land, and they're able to place anything and everything in there to live in. Most of our students live in these colonias. We got our first big co-front last night. And for us, anything below 69 is a co-front. So a lot of these families don't have the electricity, don't have the resources, water that they need. So a lot of these families that you see here, these homes were kept warm last night with a barbecue pit or a generator that they connected to a neighbor. You know, they share electricity, they share the water hose for running water. But this doesn't keep our boys and girls from succeeding and doing all that they do in our great district of Edinburg. ECISD, like I said, and part of our team, and I'm not sure if Mr. Gilbert Garza, our interim superintendent, is with us this morning. I know he had been called to a meeting. We have Dr. Rebecca Morrison, which is one of my supervisors. She is our deputy superintendent, and she oversees all the finances in the district. Mrs. Dalia Guzman, our assistant superintendent for curriculum services. Dr. Mario Salinas is our assistant superintendent for support services, and Dr. Eduardo Moreno, which is with us today, is our assistant superintendent for technology services. Mrs. Irma Villarreal, she is my immediate supervisor, and she oversees the federal programs program. She is our director. We have Patricio Escamilla that I work very closely with. He is our migrant coordinator. Out of our 43 PIAs in the district, 30 of them are dual role. That means that they oversee the FACE program, and they are also in charge of the migrant program. Of course, we have our parental involvement assistants, and I am in charge of the FACE program. What do our PIAs do? Everything. Talk about heroes. My PIAs are one of the biggest heroes in the district, from greeting families, from making phone calls, from making home visits, providing nutrition classes, Inglés sin Barreras classes, bringing in other speakers that share a variety of meetings and trainings for our staff and parents, our students, just so many different roles that my staff takes care of. They are also in charge of our dropout recovery program, which we call Project Gateway. We've been hosting Project Gateway for over 11 years, and what they would do in the past was go door to door to look for our students that were dropouts, leavers. Of course, because of the pandemic, you know, things have changed, and we'll go over their role now with Project Gateway. But my PIAs go above and beyond to serve our families and our students, to make sure that they provide anything and everything that's going to help the family succeed. Oops, one too many. So when the pandemic started, we all left for spring break, said our goodbyes, wished everyone well, and said, we'll see you back on Monday. Have a safe spring break. Never knowing that we'd get a call that Monday of spring break. And, the superintendent said, I need you back. And so right away, all of us came back and started working diligently to see what we were going to do for our families and our students because of the pandemic. For the last, I want to say 11, 12 years, and Dr. Moreno can correct me, we've had an Innovate Teaching and Learning Conference in the summer for staff. And then about 5, 6 years ago, we started inviting our families as well, our parents. And so we had a lot of great sessions going on. This was a week event. And because of the pandemic, immediately we knew not just parents were going to struggle with technology, but we knew staff was. I'm not real technology lit. If it wasn't for Dr. Moreno and Gina and the rest of our specialists and team, a lot of us were worried, so if we were worried, imagine our parents. And so immediately Dr. Moreno, Ms. Alamia put a team together. We have technology ambassadors that are staff members, teachers, that are trainer of trainers, and they immediately started training our staff virtually. We couldn't host our Innovate conference in person. So right after spring break, they started providing sessions daily for staff to make sure that they were prepared to teach our students virtually and to be able to answer questions that parents would have. From the Innovate conference came the Innovate conference that was provided virtual for teachers and parents. We hosted that the week of July 27th, I believe, through July 30th. We had over 118 online sessions for staff and parents. And the parents really enjoyed it. And it gave them a sense of relief knowing that we had this great team out there that was ready to help them and answer any questions or share ideas or make a phone call and be able to answer any questions that they had. So the pictures here on the left, the 4 pictures, is some of our teachers, some of our parents at our Innovate conference then. And there's a video that we have in English and in Spanish. And so any video that we share with our families or our teachers are always in English and Spanish. We want to make sure that the parents understand what's going on, what's being offered. And so because we could not host the Innovate conference in person, we had the Innovate conference virtually. And here are some of our parents at one of our sessions last year. And I want to share the video with you all so that you can hear a little bit about the Innovate conference. Hopefully it'll play. And I went to the next slide. Let me see.
Por los últimos pasados años, como parte de la conferencia Innovate, padres han estado invitados. Este año, por la pandemia, la conferencia será virtual y habrá sesiones para los padres. Se llevará.
So the same Spanish in the same video in Spanish, of course.
For the last several years, as part of the district's annual Innovate conference, parents have been invited to attend. This year, due to our current circumstances, the Innovate conference will be all virtual, and there will be sessions for parents as well. It will be held July 27th through July 31st. There will be 2 sessions for parents per day. Each session is 2 hours. Parents will learn about Google Classroom, how to utilize Skyward, online resources, and how to navigate our district and campus web pages.
The reason we want parents to join, and it's so important, is because this way they'll have an idea of what their children are doing on Google Classroom. How they can communicate with teachers is so important, so they're going to have an idea of what methods and what strategies they can use to communicate with teachers and help their children at home as well.
If you would like to.
So that was our Innovate conference this year. Once we finished with the Innovate conference, we saw that, parents still had questions, wanted to hear more. And so of course, I met with Dr. Moreno, Ms. Alamia, and some of our technology ambassadors. And so we decided to have Q&A sessions for families. And so this would be every Tuesday and Wednesday in the month of August through September from 6 to 7. We'd come on live and we just share more of Google Classroom with them, remind Clever, the different programs that their children were using at home. And so it was very simple videos that we shared with them. And then we just had Q&A. And the parents really enjoyed that. We did the sessions in English and in Spanish, and it really helped the parents a lot. We got great feedback. We didn't get as many phone calls after that. We did have our distance learning center that Dr. Moreno and Ms. Alamia scheduled immediately once our students started learning virtually. And so parents were able to call in from 7 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. We had a team of about 30 answering the phone and answering any questions or concerns that the parents had. So these sessions virtually were a great asset to coming back from spring break. So the Innovate Conference, like I said, then in person. And then of course we held it again the week of July, and it was a great success. So after our Innovate Conference, we always host a General Assembly for our district. We used to host it at one of our high schools, and we just grew. So we had to move it to the McAllen Convention Center. And Skip and Terry remember it when we hosted our family parental involvement statewide conference. We had to move from the McAllen Convention Center, and we moved to the Bird Ogden Arena here in Edinburg. So all our staff, our bus drivers, our cafeteria staff, our teachers, our administrators come to this General Assembly every school year. We have a guest speaker. You can see on the top right-hand corner is astronaut Sanchez from the Houston area. That was our guest speaker last year. Because of the pandemic, unfortunately, things had to be done different this school year. The two pictures on the right are parents. Every school year, the superintendent invites his superintendent district parent roundtable, and we'll talk about that in another slide. But these are all parents. They're front row. The parents that are in his committee are there every school year, and they're part of his presentation. So it's great to see everyone come together like this. And we made sure that this would continue this school year, but of course it was a bit different. So what do we do instead of hosting a General Assembly with our 4,900 employees and parents? We held parades, back to school parades. Teachers, staff, administrators dressed up. They had different themes for the parents, welcoming them back to the first day of school and to the campuses. So you can see pictures there, and pictures are worth 1,000 words. And it's just amazing to see everyone come together, to see the boys and girls, the parents, to come by and see their smiling faces, because we know it's been difficult for them. So this is Romeo Cantu. Romeo is our public relations producer, and he's a great asset to our team as well. I'm going to show a quick video on our welcome back to school.
Hello, everyone. I'm Romeo Cantu with Edinburg CISD Media. The virtual first day of school is around the corner for Edinburg CISD. It's set for August the 31st. So what can parents and students expect?
Teachers are getting ready, creating their online classrooms to welcome back students for their virtual instructional learning. The first thing students, with the help of their parents, will need to do is to turn on their computers, log on to Google using their eCISD account, and then click on the Google Classroom icon.
All students are going to participate in remote online instruction via the Google Classroom. And to get on the Google Classroom, students are going to be provided with a username and password. And once on the Google platform, they'll be able to go into all of their teachers' classrooms.
Here's an example of a daily schedule for elementary school students. So what will a virtual day be like for students in grades pre-K through 5th grade?
The day will begin at 8:30 and your child's day ends at 2:45. At 8:30, we begin with a community circle. That's so that we can engage with our students, make sure that they're ready for the day. The children get to see their friends. From that point, we do have an individualized schedule per grade level. You will be given that along with a daily syllabus that will guide you through the day's lessons. and we end at 2:45. It ends at 2:45 because from 2:45 to 3:45, we have a built-in teacher hour. That teacher hour is available to you parents so that you can contact the teacher in case you have any questions regarding that day's instruction or for anything that you need clarification on.
This is an example of a daily schedule for middle school students. And here's a sample of the daily schedule for what high school students can expect. Even though you're at home, students, remember that the bells are still ringing.
For middle school and high school this year, the bell schedules are going to be slightly different for the at-home learning. The middle school is going to be from 8:15 to 3:25 p.m. and the high school is going to be from 9 a.m. to 3:40 p.m. Both schedules are going to have built-in office hours at the end of the day. So the middle school office hours will be from 3:25 to 4 p.m. and the high school office hours will be from 3:40 to 4:30. And these office hours are an opportunity for students to attend tutorials if they have questions on the assignments, or for even parents to contact the teachers to help their child learn.
Each student is going to get their own customized remote schedule to follow daily. Also within the schedule built into it is a lunch period.
Parents, it's very important that your child attend class daily. If they are unable to get on Google Classroom, they can also be counted present by submitting assignments, emailing the teacher, having that phone call. There's various ways that we can count attendance. The most important thing is that your child engages daily with their teacher.
And a reminder for parents to please update your contact information, such as your mailing address and phone number, on Skyward. I'm Romeo Cantu reporting for Edinburg CISD, your district of choice.
Awesome. So again, all this information went out to parents in Spanish. All the schedules were in Spanish. All the information that we shared with them was in Spanish. And so we have our social media pages, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Snapchat, that we constantly update and share information with families. Our web pages, our district web page has all this information and all these videos as well. So we had the welcome back parades. The kids were really excited. The parents were really excited. We wanted to make sure that everything we were doing before continued. Of course, it was just done a bit different because of the pandemic. So welcome back parades continued, of course. And then one of our biggest events, our ECISD Back to School Bash. We've had over 5,000 students, over 5,000 parents. We had over 10,000 people last year. This is our event last year. We gave out over 850 free haircuts. You can see the bottom left-hand corner. We have our career and technology students, and we had barbers and stylists from the community give of their time. They were there from 11 when the event started till 8 o'clock at night. And so all our departments set up a table. The bottom right-hand corner picture is our technology department. The middle picture is our federal programs director, Mrs. Irma Villarreal, and some of our staff. We gave every participant a hot dog, chips, and water. And it was just a great event. It's been a great event every school year. So we give the kids school supplies, backpacks to get ready for the school year. And then we have about 45 community agencies that are there as well, sharing resources and information for the families. We had free immunizations as well for students, physicals. Of course, due to the pandemic, things had to be done different. So we figured, we don't want to keep from hosting our back to school bash. So we decided to do parades, back to school bash parades at the campuses. Students were able to come by and pick up their school supplies and their materials for the school year. We did have a set schedule, and there's Romeo in the middle again with another video. Our drive-through started August 17th. Of course, we do have families at work, and we understand that, parents at work. So we had different times where we would arrange for those families or parents that were working to come by after hours to pick up the materials. If they could not pick up materials, like I said, we're 945 square miles, then our bus drivers and some of our other staff would go out to the families to deliver. And our bus drivers have been such an instrumental part of our team. They've always been, but this year more than ever, because of the pandemic, we know that other districts had to lay off staff or cut hours. We wanted to make sure that our bus drivers were taken care of, our cafeteria staff were taken care of. They have families to take care of as well. So our bus drivers, it's been amazing to see them, and I can have Dr. Moreno share in a minute, helping us in different capacities within the school district, not just picking up and dropping off students, but they became technology savvy. They were out delivering school meals. They were out delivering supplies, and I'll share just a bit of the video so that you can see what we shared with the families.
Hello, everyone. I'm Romeo Cantu with Edinburg CISD Media with some important information on our back to school drive-through, which kicks off the week of August 17th.
Campus staff members are working hard for their students. They are organizing all of the textbooks, school supplies, and educational essentials for each student, who will receive all of the items in a convenient carrying bag. During the drive-through, parents will head to their child's campus and pick up the items. Please remember to observe social distancing guidelines by staying inside your vehicle and wearing your facial masks. The daily schedule for the back-to-school drive-through is divided into 2 sessions. There is a morning session and an afternoon session. The chart is also broken down by grade levels. So let's start with the schedule for the elementary schools. The morning session runs from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and the afternoon session goes from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. On Monday, August 17th, pre-K and kindergarten students will pick up their items in the morning and first graders in the afternoon. On Tuesday, August 18th, second graders will receive their items in the morning and third graders in the afternoon. On Wednesday, August 19th, fourth graders will pick up their items in the morning and fifth graders in the afternoon. There are 2 makeup days open to all elementary school students who were not able to make their scheduled days. The days are Thursday, August 20th and Friday, August 21st. The makeup days are open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Let's move on to the schedule for middle schools. The morning session runs from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
So it gives you an idea of what we did for the family. So there in the pictures, you see some of our custodians, some of my parental involvement assistants, some of our teachers, some of our coaches, welcoming the families coming by. So we didn't have our back to school bash, but we made sure that every student in the district received school supplies that they would need to be able to work at home virtually. We make sure that they received their textbooks, anything that they were going to need that was going to facilitate their learning was shared and given to them this week. And of course, like I said, for the families that couldn't come by, we made sure that we got that all that material to them before school started. Dr. Moreno, do we want to share anything here?
I think you're doing a great job capturing the spirit of everything that's happened in our district, like most other districts. Good morning, everybody. I think that from the technology perspective, we were able to leverage a lot of the parental involvement and community activities that we were having across the district to be able to disseminate and provide the technology to parents as well. So as parents were coming by for supplies, we were leveraging that additional support at the campuses that our parental involvement clerks and Sandra's team were developing to be able to deliver technology. So we're a little over 33,000 students, and just like everybody else, I think all of us ended up in a very similar situation where we had to go from 0 to 60 very quickly in providing technology and resources to all of our parents and students and community. And our parental involvement was a big part of that success. And Sandra touched on teamwork and looking at things differently. And she mentioned the great job that our transportation department was doing. And I think that's one of the great things that happened as we started the new normal this school year, recognizing that, you know what, our transportation department really wasn't delivering kids. And so we have over 200 buses, staff members employed across the district. And if buses don't pick up kids and bring them to school, then, I think that left many school districts in a predicament as far as staffing and personnel and with payroll. And I'm sure that many districts found opportunities and maybe redefined positions for some of those staff members who in this new school year were going to be playing different roles. And our transportation team, I'm very happy to know that we developed a technical skill set, bringing in over 33,000 iPads and Chromebooks into the district and setting them up, configuring them, and turning those around as quickly as possible for students and families across 43 schools and 1,000 square miles, like Sandra mentioned, was a challenge. And there's no way that we could have done that without our transportation staff who came in. We probably brought in about 30 staff members, 30 transportation drivers, and kind of redefined their skill set. And they came in and learned how to set up and configure Chromebooks, iPads, and help process equipment to be able to deliver that. You don't know what 33,000 Chromebooks and iPads look like until you have them all in one room, in one space. And you're looking at pallets and pallets and pallets of equipment, and and a team that has to set them up. So I think that, like most districts, we had to look at things differently then and now, and we're still looking at opportunities that way. I'll turn it back over to Sandra to continue with the presentation. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. So yes, and so one of our great big events that we continue after our general assembly and our back to school bash is our parent youth fair. This year would have been our 32nd parent youth fair. I've been privileged to host the last 17. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we couldn't host. So we've had our parent youth fair at the high school. We've had it at the city auditorium. The last 3 years, we've had it here, our administration building and our instructional technology building that Dr. Moreno, Ms. Alami, and I are housed in, has a beautiful courtyard in between both buildings. And so I talked to Dr. Moreno and I talked to our deputy superintendent. I said, you know what? We have such beautiful buildings. Why don't we host our parent youth fair here? And so we had our maintenance and facilities department come out and put these beautiful, great big lights. And we had our fine arts department and maintenance put up a beautiful stage, because at every parent youth fair, we have entertainment by our students. And so what it is it's similar to our back to school bash. We have every campus, and you see the pictures there, set up a table, and they set up make and takes, easy activities that the parents can take back home to do at home with their children. And so you're talking about activities from robotics and science that you see there in the middle, to math and social studies and reading. And then last year we had about 37 community agencies that came out as well, and again shared their resources and gave information out and different items to the families. The parents really enjoy the parent youth fair. Excuse me, we have a theme every school year, and it's just a way of bringing the families, the schools and the community together. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we couldn't host our parent youth fair. And so the week of that we usually host our parent youth fair, we had different activities that each campus had for their families. And so here are some of the celebrations throughout the school district. Of course, we had Red Ribbon Week parades where the parents were able to come by with their children and celebrate. And you see, in some of the pictures, that's all the teachers, welcoming the kids back, and the administrators and the staff. We had Crazy Hair Day, where the students and the parents, had their crazy hair day. We had vocabulary parades. Each student was given a vocabulary word. They were to design it, draw it, and then define it. And then the parents would drive by and the kids will have their vocabulary word, and they'd even be dressed up. So the parents have been really good about joining in on the different parades that we've had since the school year started, to be able to celebrate with them. It's just a bit different. We did have our canine officers as well that did presentations for the students and the parents virtually. This is them here talking about the presentations they do, and that they're available for students as well.
Red Ribbon Week is celebrated every year. It's the nation's oldest and largest drug awareness program. It first began after the death of Drug Enforcement Administration Special Agent Enrique Quique Camarena. who was murdered by drug traffickers he was investigating in Mexico back in 1985. After his death, the wearing of red ribbons began to honor Quique's sacrifice.
Hello, my name is Michael Talamachi, and I'm a police canine handler with the Edinburg CISD Police Department. I've got a new partner. His name is Nikki. And unfortunately, because of the times that we're at now, we cannot be with you guys in person, but we're here with you guys virtually. When we go to a campus, just because you guys are not there doesn't mean that we don't check them. We're still checking them. We're still checking every school. Anything that has to do with the district, we're still checking because we still have staff members there. We still have employees that are working there.
Hello, my name is Ernesto Trevino Jr. I'm a canine handler with the Edinburg CISD Police Department, and part of my duties is to work with my partner. His name's Miko. He's a Belgian Malinois. Due to the unprecedented times, unfortunately, we're not out on campuses, but as soon as we get the time, we're out there, and our job description is to go out there and keep drugs away from campuses, students.
Just because you guys are not at school doesn't mean that we cannot help you guys. You can call us at any time and we'll make an effort to get you help. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody to help you, but we'll always make sure that somebody will be out there to help you. You know, you're not alone in this. This is very challenging times, and we're here to help you and keep you guys safe.
Red ribbon.
Sorry. So those are our canine officers. We have 4, I believe, in the district. We have police officers at every campus. And so we've been very fortunate that we've even got them involved with virtual classes, not only for the parents, but for students. And like Officer Tanamachi said is, we're all here for the students. And if they need to call, if they need to share something with the officers, they know that they're just a phone call away. Celebrations continued. We weren't able to do graduations at the end of last school year for our kinder students, our 5th grade students. So the teachers, of course, scheduled that as well during the celebrations that we had. So the kids were really, really excited. Like I said at the beginning, our parental moment assistants, and you can see some of them there in our pictures, my staff does an amazing job working with our families and getting students to come back to school. A lot of times, it's not that they don't want to be in school, they're lacking the resources necessary to be able to be in school. If we have a young lady that maybe has a baby or a child and they're not able to care for, have someone care for them, and so they can't come back to school, we provide the resources that are out there for childcare. If they're needing clothing, we have our federal funds to be able to provide uniforms for our middle school and elementary students, clothing for our high school students. We have shoes, we get free shoes, and I'll talk about that in a minute with one of our churches in the community that we have partnered with. There are so many different resources out there, so we make sure that they get what they need to be able to come back and be successful. So for the last, I said 10, 11 years, we've had Project Gateway. You see my group from our Economides High School there in the left-hand corner. Each cluster, each elementary and middle school that feeds into that high school, they would meet the whole month of September, the last week of August, all of September. They meet at their designated high school, and they would make phone calls. They'd make home visits. My staff makes home visits daily to the families. And so they would go out and look for our students. You can see one of our students here at the bottom right-hand corner. That is her little boy and her little girl. She had dropped out. She had to support her family. My staff was able to get her the proper resources that she needed, and she graduated last year. She's already a student at one of our colleges here in the region. So we're very excited when things like this happen. So Project Gateway has been a great gateway for Edinburg to work with our families to be able to provide what they need to be able to send their kids back to school and finish. And so, of course, Project Gateway had to be done differently, of course, this year. So this was then. My staff would go out, like I said, the whole month of September, door to door, make home visits, find where these students were to make sure that we got them back in school. Because of the pandemic, we worked a little bit different this school year. We had the staff make contact with the assistant principal at each high school that oversees Project Gateway in attendance. they were provided a list, and so they started making phone calls. Once they made phone calls, we were able to get a lot of the students to register and come back. Again, it was because of lack of certain resources, and we were able to provide that for them. Those students that we could not get a hold of, again, like Dr. Moreno and I had mentioned earlier, we had our bus drivers out making these home visits, and they were making contact with our families. And I laugh, I talk to some of my PIAs, and they're like, our bus drivers are like the police patrol. Like, they are making sure these families are getting the information they need. They're making sure to make contact. And we've had great success because of that. So this was then. Now, of course, we did have, we do have a parental involvement assistant at every high school. Here you see Ms. Mere Cantu. She is one of our elementaries. This high school had just lost their parental involvement assistant. She had retired. And so our assistant principal there, Mr. Rodriguez, called on Ms. Cantu from one of our elementaries, and they're able to work together with the other team members to be able to do what they needed to for Project Gateway this school year. And it's not just the month of September. I mean, the phone calls continue. We continue calling students, making sure that they come back if we haven't been able to reach them, and see what they're needing to be able to come back.
At the beginning of every school year, ECISD parental involvement assistants team up with our high schools to find students who have not enrolled in school. It's all part of Project Gateway. In all years past, the PIAs would conduct home visits. Like everything else this year, the pandemic caused for some changes in Project Gateway.
Our bus drivers have been fantastic at assisting at different capacities in the district. So what we were doing for Project Gateway is our parental involvement assistant at the high school level or the middle school would work with the assistant principal, get the paperwork ready, and then our bus driver assigned to that campus is the one that goes out and makes the home visit or the contact with the parent.
We're told one of the most important components of Project Gateway is making sure students are aware that there are programs in place that provide assistance so they don't fall behind.
We're certainly very concerned about the students that don't come back, and we want to make sure that they have an opportunity. And sometimes the students don't know about the opportunities because they're so worried or engrossed in their situation, circumstance, and rightly so. There's a lot of things going on right now. And our job is really to go out there and say, look, you really do have all these opportunities that are given to you. This is what the school is offering. These are the different resources that you can kind of dive into.
Final numbers for the project aren't in yet because it ends on October the 30th. However, so far, Gateway has once again really helped the district.
It's been a very successful run. Even with the pandemic, our staff has gone above and beyond to find these students, to try to locate them, see where they're at. If they're registered, that's great. If they're not, we want them to come back. And so our percentage of dropouts, leavers, is already below the number that we had last year. So that's really good.
If you would like more information on Project Gateway, you are asked to contact the Parental Involvement Department at 956-289-2318. Reporting for Edinburg CISD, your district of choice, I'm Delia Ramirez.
So that is Project Gateway. And as you can see, our bus drivers, they were walking in one of our colonias. Like I said, probably 50-60%, maybe now more, of our city is surrounded by different colonias. And like I said, our bus drivers did an amazing job and continue to do. So our bus drivers right now, since the start of the pandemic, are housed at the campuses. So every campus has 3 or 4 bus drivers. And my staff tells me, Ms. Rodriguez, it's amazing to see the bus drivers, get creative and tell us, well, let's put all the material in this box for this colonia, and let's put all the material in this box for this colonia. And so, they've gotten to know the families, and they come back and share and say, this has been such an amazing experience, because usually it's drive by, drop off the students, and continue with their route. And so now they're able to talk more to the families and get more involved in everything that we're doing. So it's been really, really neat to see them work with us to make sure that these students get everything they need. Curbside meals. Again, we come back from spring break. Things are very different. We have families calling us and telling us, my husband lost his job. I was laid off. a lot of our moms clean homes, that is their livelihood. And because of the pandemic, they couldn't do that. And so we were getting phone calls, parents crying and saying, schools are closed. The only meals my kids get are at the campus. How am I going to provide, food to my children? So there in the bottom picture of the screen is, to the left is our assistant superintendent, like I said, for student services, Dr. Mario Salinas. In the middle, sitting down in the blue shirt, and he'll talk in a minute, is Mr. Jaime Perez. He is our child nutrition director. Some of our cafeteria staff, some of our bus drivers, our interim superintendent to the top right, Mr. Garza, and then some of our board members to the left. When we met, we decided meals are not going to stop for our boys and girls. We know that we need to get meals to them. And so the team met since the pandemic started. Up to the end of probably August, we have served over 2.5 million meals to our students. I think we were one of the few districts that stayed open since the pandemic started. And you can see our cafeteria staff there, delivering the food to our families curbside. And then bottom left-hand corner, you can see our bus driver delivering meals. And why? Like I said, we're 945 square miles. I believe the first week after the pandemic that we started issuing the meals out at the campuses, I got a call from one of my staff members that said that one of our migrant parents had walked almost 2 hours to pick up the meals for her children. And that was devastating to hear. So we decided as a district, yes, we're providing meals at the campus, but how about those families that don't have the transportation to come pick up the meals at the school? So again, our bus driver stepped up, our child nutrition department, they started bagging the meals and started delivering them to the colonias, to the areas outside of the Edinburg School District. From our administration building, I think it takes about 46 minutes to get to one of our campuses. So that tells you, how big the district is. And so we wanted to make sure that every child had the opportunity to get the meals that they needed. So daily they would get a breakfast and a lunch. And then on Fridays, they were provided 3 breakfast and 3 lunch for the weekend. So this continues. We've continued to serve. I think we're probably already at about 3 million meals. And so we're very excited that we were able to do this for the students. And again, here's a video of Romeo sharing what we've done for the students, and Mr. Perez as well talks about the meals that we've provided for the children. And I'll share just a bit of the video. I won't share the whole thing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Romeo Cantu with Edinburg CISD Media. I'm here inside the cooler of our child nutrition department, where you can see these food supplies are getting ready to be shipped and packed out to all of our individual campuses as we begin the next phase of our curbside meal pickup program.
It was great when we were able to start it, knowing that the pandemic had started and there was a lot of kids that were going without healthy meals at home. It was good for us to continue to get on the healthy, well-balanced meals curbside, as safe and healthy, as efficient as we can. We had a lot of compliments, especially when we were able to give Hamburger Wednesdays. The parents enjoyed having the consistency and the normalcy back with their kids and made them feel comfortable that some things were coming back to normal.
Oops, sorry. So again, as much normalcy as possible, we wanted to make sure that the kids felt like it was still, their school day. And yes, Hamburger Wednesdays, it's amazing. They were so excited to be able to receive their hamburger on Wednesdays, and they still do. So kudos to our child nutrition department, our bus drivers, for continuing to make sure that our children don't go hungry, and we're able to provide, the resources needed for them. Personal protective equipment for students and staff. Of course, Dr. Moreno immediately, our deputy superintendent, our superintendent, the team came together and said, we need to do everything we can to make sure that our children, our students are protected, and our families. We thought that we would be back by now. Not all students are back. Certain circumstances and certain students, are back. Our special education students are back. We have certain grade levels that have returned. And of course, students that do not have internet service, Wi-Fi at home. We're so big, like I said, and there are so many areas that even with the greatest technology, service is bad out there for our students. So we made sure that we had everything we needed for those staff members and students that came back to the campuses. So on the bottom right-hand picture and on the top right, you see them, those cutie pies with a mask that we got for each student, their dividers, their little boxes to carry their material, and of course, hand sanitizer, thermometers, anything and everything we needed to make sure that everyone was well protected with PPE equipment. And there's a video of the items that we received. And of course, any visitors that come in to the campuses to deliver, or parents that for some reason have to come by and have to get off, of course, we have masks for them as well. So we made sure that we were able to provide a mask, disposable and a washable mask for every student, a mask as well as for staff members. On the bottom left-hand corner, daily, our Edinburg CISD media team provides different tips for students and parents. And these are, of course, are found again in our social media pages, as well as our web pages on the district level and at the campus level. And again, all the tips given out to parents are in English and in Spanish. So this is just a video of some of the equipment we got when we first started with the pandemic.
Sandra?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Terry. One question that's been asked multiple times is, how do you guys fund?
The funding.
Yes, and I'm assuming you probably use some of your ESSER funds for some of this, but the stuff that you were doing prior to COVID and all of the great events that you were doing in the handouts and the school supplies, how do you guys fund that?
Thank you. I'm very fortunate that the deputy superintendent in charge of finance is my boss. So if I come up with a great idea, she says, do it, we'll get it done. And so she's a great resource, but federal funds, local funds, our back to school bash, each campus, like I said, sets up, so they have their own funding to provide the necessary resources for the events. The back to school bash, we bought all the school supplies like we did this year. I'm not sure exactly what accounts are being used, and maybe Dr. Moreno can talk about that. But if not, I'll make sure to get all that information to you all. We have a lot of great community agencies and vendors that love to help our district and our families. And so we make the phone call and they love the idea, we get it done. They provide the resources that we need for that as well. So we're very fortunate with vendors and community agencies that provide a lot of that.
This is some of the personal protective equipment that Edinburg CISD will be using for the 2020-2021 school year. Hello, everyone. I'm Romeo Cantu with Edinburg CISD Media. I'm here inside one of our storage facilities where you can see there are hundreds of thousands of items, including gallons of hand sanitizer and masks.
The Edinburg Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees recently approved the purchases of approximately $1.2 million for personal protective equipment, also known as PPE, for staff and students in preparation for the upcoming school year amid the coronavirus pandemic.
The board is making sure that we have all the elements in place to provide a safe workplace for our teachers and staff. They're making sure that we purchase all this equipment. That's why they have opened up the pockets to make sure that these dollars are well spent for the right reason, which is the safety of our staff and students.
The list of personal protective equipment and supplies includes 34,500 disposable masks, 50,500 reusable masks, 3,250 face shields and sneeze guards, 200 boxes of gloves, 5,750 gallons of sanitizer, over $11,000 worth of wipes, covers, and first aid supplies, 45 sanitizing sprayers, 2,675 thermometers, 3 temperature cameras, 7,400 student desks for elementary classrooms, 34,400 study carrels, and 4 food service carts.
So as you can see, we made sure that we prepared as best as we can, or we could, for everyone to make sure that parents felt a little bit more at ease with their children coming to the school, make sure that we had the necessary equipment for them and for our staff as well. You can see Dr. Moreno wearing, Gina's wearing, I'm wearing, every day we get our temperature checked. So do our students, our staff at the campuses, and I'm pretty sure you all do as well. And of course, this is just for safety for everyone. So we were very fortunate to be able to purchase all of this for everyone in the district. And I know Dr. Moreno touched on our devices and equipment, and I still want to share. I think this is so important, and he can come on and share with me as well. But again, we had our distance learning call center for families from 7 to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night every day after the pandemic started. We were answering phone calls. The phones were ringing nonstop. We had staff on standby answering calls. So our technology department team, along with our bus drivers, did an amazing job to get the necessary equipment and devices to our students. Dr. Moreno mentioned that during our back to school parades, when students were picking up materials and school supplies, we were also issuing the devices, the hotspots, the Chromebooks, the iPads that were purchased for students. If parents could not come by, then our bus drivers would go out to the homes and deliver the equipment. If equipment breaks down, our bus drivers go out to the home, pick it up, bring it back to the technology department, and then we issue another device to the child while their device is being worked on. So this has been constant, and you can see the numbers there, and Dr. Moreno can share a little bit about the devices that we've purchased, but I'm going to show the video real quick, and then I'll let him say a few words.
One thing that technology is doing is preparing Chromebooks for the 2020-2021 school year. Our efforts are to roll out these Chromebooks to students of ECISD for remote learning.
Remote learning that Edinburg CISD continues getting ready for during these unprecedented times, as the district has spent over $6 million in technology equipment and software. Edinburg CISD students and families participating in virtual learning will need a computer, laptop, iPad, tablet, or other mobile device and internet access at home.
So far, we've received Chromebooks, iPads, and hotspots. Our plans are to roll those out to the campuses within the next couple of weeks. Right now, what we're doing is doing the preparation work for those devices.
CISD will be issuing a mobile device to those students and families in most need. We ask for the support of our school community. Together, we can make sure that all of our students are able to connect with a device.
All of our devices will have the necessary applications and whatever else they need to be able to successfully navigate through the remote learning.
Members of the technology department say they expanded their skill set during the 2019-2020 school year.
We've learned a lot from the March to May. I was part of the Help Center, so I was able to field a lot of those calls, a lot of the questions from teachers, parents and students. I feel confident that our staff is well prepared to answer those questions.
It's important to note, while preparing in the deployment of the devices, district safety guidelines were followed.
We have a great team. Our computer specialists are on top of it. I do want to thank the ECISD administration and the school board for making all this possible.
Reporting for Edinburg CISD, your...
So yes, so we had a great team, and you can see that those are our technology specialists getting all the equipment ready. We had bus drivers, like I said, bus drivers were there as well. They taught them what to do, and they took off, and it was just amazing to see. So I want Dr. Moreno to share a bit about the great work that his team has done.
Thank you, Sandra. I think that we're very similar to every other district. I think what happens sometimes when your numbers start going over 20, 25, 30,000 students, that scale sometimes becomes a challenge. And then the sheer geographic area that we're trying to cover with different internet service vendors. We had to partner with Verizon and T-Mobile, like everyone else, and Sprint, just to try and make sure we have variety to be able to provide the right service in the right area and to be able to meet the need. I think a few takeaways from this to follow Sandra's and your theme of now and then. I think room utilization has changed. The simple fact that we're on a Zoom right now and we're bringing together 500 people in one meeting, I don't see us going back necessarily to face-to-face staff development. This is going to be our new norm, and we've embraced it. From March to the start of the school year, we had over 400 training sessions for staff, and we had over 10,000 participants. There's no way that we could have physically brought in people face to face to be able to have that kind of staff development. And it's just completely changed. So our rooms now, we're in the information technology building, and the first floor was all staff development. We had meeting rooms that we could bring in anywhere from 150 to 200 people. All of those meeting rooms are now being used for device configuration, setup. Our information technology building is now technology. And all the entire building and space is now dedicated to just recycling and putting out devices and the maintenance that's going to come with that. Our call center was very successful, and we brought in all of our staff members. We have a very successful college intern program where we have another 120, 25 college interns. We're right next to the university, so we hire very tech-savvy college interns to provide technical support, and so we leverage that resource as well. But that seems to be the gist of it. Everybody, I think, experienced the same challenges and opportunities with the new mobile device and hotspot initiatives. So
Thank you.
thank you.
And it was just, and like he said, once we got all the devices out, our students are so tech savvy. Our kids train us, right, to use technology, but still parents had questions and they were afraid. So we made sure that we had trainings on what they were receiving, whether the training was provided by technology staff, by our parental involvement assistants, by the teachers. And so they would let the parents know, you're receiving an iPad, you're receiving a Chromebook. We had families that would call us right after spring break crying, I have 4 children and they're all using my phone, to do class and so classwork. And so we wanted to make sure that every child received what they needed to be as comfortable as possible to be able to do their classwork daily. So Dr. Moreno again and his team did a fantastic job at making sure, that our students, our parents felt comfortable with all the equipment they were receiving. So brings us to youth mental health and adult mental health first aid. Right now with the pandemic, we've seen an increase in cases with stress and anxiety, depression, not only with our students, but with our parents because of what they're going through. And so 2 years ago, we started youth mental health first aid trainings for staff. So all our nurses, our directors, our administrators, our fine arts, our coaches, athletics, everyone was receiving training on youth mental health. We realized it was so important. And if you're like me, you have 3 or 4 friends over, on the weekends. And so we felt that parents needed to be aware of what the signs were when students were experiencing depression or anxiety, trouble at home. So we started training parents 2 years ago. So the first picture in the middle is the first group of parents, 30 parents that we trained on youth mental health first aid. We're very fortunate in the district to have 3 licensed professional counselors. Top left-hand corner is Ileana Herrera. She is our licensed professional counselor for staff, and all these services are free. Ileana is available 24 hours. So if a staff member needs to reach her, they can. Bottom left-hand corner, we have Josue Gutierrez and Delise Cavazos. They are the 2 licensed professional counselors for students. So like I said, 2 years ago, we started with trainings. This training is very specific. They have to be there from 8 to 5 in order to get certified for 3 years on youth mental health. Ms. Herrera just got trained on adults mental health, and so she's training on that as well. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, these trainings had to stop. I was hosting a training 1 month in Spanish, so 30 Spanish-speaking parents would come, and then the following month would be a session in English. So every month we were having 30 parents certified in youth mental health. The parents really enjoyed it. It was great to come together and share. Even some of our own parents sharing things that their children were going through or they were going through as adults. Because of the pandemic, like I said, things changed. And so now Ms. Herrera, Ms. Cavazos, and Mr. Gutierrez continue to provide these services. If you see on the right of your screen, it's webinars that they were hosting that Ms. Alamia was assisting with. And so staff, we had Wellness Wednesdays, and so they were providing sessions for staff. They also provide sessions for students. And so the sessions are either virtual, over the phone, in some cases in person, of course, following social guidelines when needed. Crisis management, they do morning wellness checks. They conduct, like I said, weekly webinars, collaborative team services. They work with our social workers. We have 14 social workers in the district, our school counselors as well. They work together to be able to provide these resources to students and parents. They conduct weekly webinars, for example, on COVID-19, mental health, ethics for the school counselors, etc. And when I talked to them a few weeks ago, they said, you know, our cases, of course, have increased, not just staff members, but families and students. And they also provide counseling for group therapy for families or individual, depending on the need of each child. And we're very fortunate, like I said, to have these 3 LPCs service our district. And again, these services are free. So our superintendent's district parent roundtable, I know I mentioned it at the beginning when I showed you all the pictures of our General Assembly and our back to school bash. The superintendent 10 years ago started the superintendent's district parent roundtable. What this is representatives from each campus. They start the school year right with their child and they follow them every school year. If the child moves on to middle school, and then of course the parent, the superintendent roundtable parent representative can move on to the middle school and then the high school. And then they graduate. Once their child graduates, they graduate from this committee. And the campus principal, campus administrator, picks a new representative from their campus. So right now, some campuses might have 2 or 3, depending if it's a middle school or high school. The superintendent meets every 6 weeks with his roundtable. They are his eyes and his ears. They come and they share ideas, they share concerns. He shares all the updates for the district, whether it's on rezoning, the naming of a campus, inviting them to different committees. These roundtable parents are very involved with the decision-making in the school district. You can see the top left-hand corner. They were visiting our career and technology building last year. It is a very old building. And so he talked about why we're wanting to build 2 new career centers, because we want to make sure that all children have the opportunity to join these courses to be able to succeed in whatever career they want. Bottom left-hand corner, that was a meeting he called right after the pandemic. Wanted to talk to them about what was going on, how things were going to be handled, how we were waiting daily to hear from TEA or CDC. And so he wanted to make sure that they knew what was going on. The roundtable meetings are in English and in Spanish, and everything he shares with them, these parent representatives go back and share with their campus, PTAs, PTOs, and other parent organizations. They have meetings in the colonias where they go out and share with the parents, you know, what was going on. Because of the pandemic, you know, they were calling and saying, hey, when are we going to meet? You know, we need to meet with him. We need to know what's going on, what's being done in the district to help families and help students. So we've been hosting virtual meetings with them this school year. And this was one of the meetings that we had to start the school year.
Recently, the Superintendent's District Parent Roundtable held their first meeting of the school year. The virtual meeting included more than 40 parents. We're told the gathering via Google Meet was a huge success.
We shared different things with them, the level we're at now, when we'll be coming back. You know, the week before Thanksgiving, we talked about our safe new start plan.
The group met with Interim Superintendent Gilbert Garza and some of the assistant superintendents, including Parental Involvement Coordinator Sandra Rodriguez.
The parents were really excited. You know, so that is our roundtable. Like I said, we meet with the superintendent. We continue to meet with them, and we're scheduling our next meeting, I believe, for next week. Just to see what the updates will be, how we're going to finish this first semester, and then start the new school year. So we're very, very fortunate to have our roundtable with us. And I know we have a few minutes, so I'll go quicker. ECISD Fall Festival. Every November, we want to do something for the students before they leave for the Thanksgiving holidays. A lot of our students don't get to go to Whataburger to buy a Whataburger, don't get to go to the movies, don't get to go to the carnival when the carnival is here. So we brought the carnival to them. We had a fall festival at our stadium. Towards the middle picture in the very far end, you can see the lights. That was the carnival. We had 10 carnival rides for them. We gave them hot dogs, chips, popcorn, water. Everything was free. The white tent you see here at the bottom is our technology department. Again, all the schools set up different games, educational games for the students and the families and the parents. We have the rides, we have face painting, and then on the field, we have our students performing. So we have different campuses and different performances. It was a great, great event. Hoping to have one again soon, right? But because of the pandemic, things have, been done a bit different. So because we can't host our fall festival at the stadium for our students, we are having a movie in the parking lot. This will be hosted December 17th, this coming month, or this month already, we're the first. It will be at one of our parks here in the district. We will provide hot dogs, chips, and waters for the students, and it'll be like a drive-in. So we're gonna provide the sound through the radio for the parents through an FM transmitter, and we're gonna show a movie for them just to bring the families together and be able to do something with them. But of course, following social distance guidelines, the families will be staying in their vehicle. Our FACE Symposium, we've hosted a FACE Symposium, and it was very successful. We had different community agencies come out and provide information to our parents. The sessions were hosted in English and in Spanish. The parents had a choice of 4 to 5 sessions to attend that day. We provided lunch for them. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, our symposium had to be done a bit different. So now we're hosting different virtual meetings daily. We have nutrition classes, we have Inglés sin Barreras, we have Title I meetings, we have different speakers, our licensed professional counselors, our police officers. Sessions are being provided daily, different times of the day, morning and night, because we do know that parents work. Some of our parents are still working. So the parents have really enjoyed being able to attend these sessions because things are different, and so we couldn't have our symposium. For the families that can attend that day, we do record the sessions, of course, and then we put them up on our webpage so the parents can be able to view them as well later on. So we've had a great success with our sessions. I can't leave my colleagues from Region 1 out, and this is not even probably half of us. This was a meeting in Mercedes last November, and who would have thought that things would be so different this school year, correct? So you see Ms. Pat Campos there from Laredo, and you see Gracie Avila from Region 1, and Ms. Velma, and Norma from PSJA, and you have Ms. Nancy Villarreal from Mission. So Rosalva from Brownsville, Erica from Westlaco, Luis from, I went black, San Benito, excuse me. So we are a very tight-knit team here in Region 1. We tried to meet a monthly last school year and the years before. After the pandemic, we started meeting every 2 weeks. We were sharing what was working in their district, what was not. What are you doing, for families now that the pandemic has hit? And so it's great to work with such an amazing team, colleagues that I can call friends, and help each other out, because like Chancellor said earlier, we don't know when a student from our district may leave and withdraw and go to a different district. And so we make sure that we share what's going on, what's helping in each district and how it can help us and benefit our students. So kudos to Region 1 and our staff because they do amazing, amazing work. And I'm very fortunate to work with them. Right now, Gracie hosts meetings every 2 weeks. And so we come together and she gives us updates, lets us know what's going on or what's happening with Title I. And then she gives us an opportunity to share so that we can see what we're each doing in our district here at Region 1. This has been a great, great partnership and resource. About a year and a half ago, talking to our deputy superintendent, we talked about what can we do to make sure that all the churches in Edinburg know what resources we provide to our families. So we decided to invite all the clergy in our community, all of them. Didn't matter the belief, their religion. We wanted to bring them together so that they could share what resources they provide at their congregation or their church. And at the same time, we provide different information to them. We bring in different speakers. We bring in our counselors, our LPCs, different departments to share with them what we do for boys and girls as well. Left-hand corner, our director for assessment and testing was talking to them about STAR testing coming up last year and how our students get anxious. They worry about test day. And so what resources were available for them. And it's been great to see them come to these meetings because now they call me. I had about 7 of them call me right before the Thanksgiving holiday and say, Sandra, are there any families in need? Are there any families that are going to need a turkey meal? Are there any families that are going to need food for the week because the district's going to be closed? They've given me blankets, they've given me pillows, toiletries, and it was just great to have this partnership. And we would meet in person. Of course, now with the pandemic, it's either through the phone or virtual meetings. And we just touch base on, what, we have food at our church right now. So if you want to let families know and come by, we'll be open from this day, time to this time. So that was a great partnership. We have anywhere from 15 to 30 clergy that'll meet with us when we meet. And when they can't meet, they'll call me and let me know, I couldn't make the meeting, but this is what's available right now, and this is how we can help. So that's been a really great partnership. What I did was I sent a welcome letter to all the churches in the community from our department, and then I send one from the superintendent, and then we send them an invitation for the first meeting, and then we got their emails and then just started meeting after that. We do have 10 ECISD food pantries. We found out just here, for example, at the university, we were amazed to find out that we had about 500 students living in their vehicle at the university because they could not afford housing and much less something to eat. So the university opened a food pantry. And for that reason, we felt that we needed food pantries in the district as well. A lot of times we can give the parents a voucher to go to the food bank in FAR, but they might not have a vehicle to travel. So then they can't go pick up the food. So our assistant superintendent for support services, Dr. Mario Salinas, our deputy superintendent and myself a few years ago decided to open food pantries at 10 of our campuses. So we picked 10 of our campuses that had the most economically disadvantaged students. We serve approximately 120 families a month. Sometimes we do it twice. They receive anywhere from 40 to 50 pounds of food. And you're talking about chicken leg quarters. Some pantries this month gave out turkeys. We give food out to them. If a family is in need at a campus that doesn't have a food pantry, then my parental involvement assistant will call that food pantry PIA and make arrangements to get food for the family in need. Before the pandemic, families would attend a meeting. We'd make sure that we'd always provide some kind of training for them, and then they'd receive their food. Unfortunately, things are different now. So you can see there curbside, our PIAs and our custodial staff will come out. They'll let the parents know that the food is ready and they'll come by and pick up the food for the families. When they can't come by, then one of our bus drivers will go by and drop off. City of Edinburg Parks and Recreation and their Edinburg Care Day of Giving. We've been very fortunate to work with Edinburg Parks and Rec for the last 10 years in partnership with HEB. Just an example, school year 2018, we delivered over 1,500 turkey meals to families. You see some of our students there. They have canned food drives at the campuses. All the cans that are collected go to the Edinburg Cares Day of Giving. We make baskets for the families, and any food that's left over goes back to the food pantries in our district. In 2019, we delivered over 2,000 turkey meals to our families. That was so much fun. It was great to see the principals, administrators, parents, that could volunteer their time, come out and help us distribute all these meals. Unfortunately, this school year, we couldn't go out and make home visits. So HEB and Parks and Recreation gave me, our department, 500 turkey vouchers for a $25 turkey at HEB and a $10 gift card. So the parents came by curbside and picked those up, and they're able to use them this month as well if they haven't used them. If they couldn't come by again to pick them up, our bus drivers provided the delivery for them. So we're very grateful for the City of Edinburg, Parks and Recreation, and HEB for doing this for us. On the right, you can see some of our parents that came by to some of the campuses to pick up their voucher and their gift card. Edinburg Rotary Club Caritas program. And what is Caritas? Caritas means faces. It's a project that the Rotary Club in McAllen and Edinburg started years ago. Every school year we select a campus, we select 100 students, and they get a free pair of shoes. They would go on a Saturday, they had face painting, they had food for them, they had activities for the parents. You can see some of the volunteers there, and these are all volunteers from the different student organizations that measure the student's foot, and then they get a free pair of shoes. If they have siblings, the siblings get the shoes as well. So I think last year we were able to service 236 students that got free shoes from the Edinburg Rotary Club Caritas program. We also have In His Steps Shoe Bank. I've been very fortunate for the 17 years I've been in parental involvement to work with the First United Methodist Church here in Edinburg. Just this year, they've given me 350 $25 gift cards to Shoe Carnival, and I use those gift cards to buy students shoes and socks. Of course, I take advantage of the BOGO sales, right? Buy one, get one half off. So sometimes I can do 2 or 3 pairs of shoes for each gift card. And those shoes, of course, go to our students. So the families are very grateful for that assistance. City of Edinburg Parks, again, in the month of October, donated over 200 backpacks with school supplies to our students. United Way has been very gracious as well. We have shopping sprees for our students, $150 of shopping and free haircuts and backpacks. This year, because of the pandemic, they brought the backpacks to us. Of course, this picture was last year, this wasn't this year, but they donated backpacks as well. And so we've been very fortunate to work with these 2 amazing organizations that have provided so much to our students. And this is one of I think one of my most favorite activities that we do throughout the school year. And this is just 2 of our campuses that I highlighted here because it was too hard to highlight all 42, but we do attendance patrol. And so what we would do last year, we put the kids that have perfect attendance in a drawing, and a lot of times they're the ones that win a prize, correct? So we always reward the students for coming to school every day. But we forget that mom and dad are the ones that get them to school, or grandma, because we have those students are being raised by grandma or an older sibling or an aunt. So we wanted to make sure that we recognize the adults that help their children get to school every day. So we're still doing our attendance patrol. Of course, it's a bit different. Our bus drivers are assisting. And, we do check attendance daily right now with the pandemic as well. So what it is in every grade level at the campuses, they put the students' names in a drawing. And so they pick 2 students, I think, per grade level, and depending what they're providing that day. And most of these resources are provided by the PTA or PTO at the campus or through activity funds. And they deliver to the parents a meal for bringing their children to school every day. So if the parents win the drawing, the attendance patrol goes out. Now our bus drivers go out and they deliver either pizzas and soda to the families, or you can see Dr. Montemayor, one of our now middle school principals that is very competitive. He delivers barbecue pits and charcoal and a nice chest full of goodies for the family. So the parents are very grateful that we recognize them, for sending their kids to school, for making sure that they're logging on right now virtually and making sure that, their classwork gets done. So we're very fortunate with that. And of course, I know Chancellor and our other awesome, speakers talked about, before there can be achievement, there needs to be engagement, and there has to be. And as a team, we need to work together to engage our families, to make sure that they feel comfortable to call and ask questions, to call and share a concern if they have a concern. We want to make sure that in every department, in every way, we're engaging and doing the best that we can to provide for our families, here in the school district. And like we said, it takes a team, it's not it's all of us together. And so I'm very grateful and fortunate to work with Dr. Moreno, Ms. Alamia, the rest of our staff, my amazing parental mom and assistants that are with us today. They're the ones that go, above and beyond to make sure that we're successful in all that we do, because all that we do is for our families. So thank you for your time. I know there were a lot of questions, and I think Ms. Alamia was able to answer most of them. But again, wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If we could be of service, either Dr. Moreno, Ms. Alamia, or I, our phone numbers are there. If you love the presentation, please call me. If you didn't, call Dr. Moreno. But thank you all. I know we're all doing great, great things. There's so much more that we're doing, but we wanted to focus on what we're doing for our families now. What are we doing now because of the pandemic? Again, we go back to the pandemic. We had Hurricane Hannah that hit our area. We have so many families doubled up right now. I'm in charge of McKinney-Vento and foster care as well. And it's hard to see what they're going through, what we take for granted sometimes, how much we have. And then we make these visits or get the phone calls that we do that, I'm hungry, my kids are hungry. And so being able to provide and get all these resources to them so that they're as comfortable as possible, because if we can make sure that our students have all their basic needs, then more than likely they're going to succeed for us. And so making sure that we do that for our boys and girls and our parents is so important. And so I'm just so grateful to be able to do that here in the school district. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you to all of Edinburg CISD. You guys are doing some amazing work. I ask that you don't hang up. If you'll just give me about 5 minutes, I promise, then we'll let you go. One of the things that I want to say about both of these schools when we're talking about a leave or we're talking about Edinburg, these schools are intentional when it comes to getting their parents engaged and involved. They're intentional about using their staff to their very highest capacity. And because of that, they're very successful. They're both doing a great job meeting the needs of their families during this pandemic. If they see a need, they work to meet that need. Love the fact that both of you are using your media department to get the word out. You're providing Q&A sessions and virtual learning sessions. And because of that, I'm sure your students are being extremely successful. Again, because of time, we don't have the time to answer all the questions, but we do make a copy of every question that was in the chat room. So we will get with Sandra, we'll get with Chancellor and make sure that we have all of these questions answered. Several people again on this session asked if they could use the videos. I'm assuming the answer is yes. If they're in the PowerPoint, then that's part of the presentation. If there's a specific one that you have a question about, feel free to reach out to Sandra there at Edinburg. But goodness gracious, the way both of you have used your media departments, I'm just jealous. That's just all I'm going to say. I'm just flat out jealous. One of the things that I want to point out are a couple of things from the last session. We asked you guys if you wanted to continue to have the expos next semester, and overwhelmingly the answer was yes. So we want to let you know that we're in the process now of getting together the dates, talking to TEA about the topics that we need to cover. But in our statewide Parent and Family Engagement Council, one thing that came up was cultural sensitivity. So if you are doing something at your school that you would be willing to present about how you're creating a culture that celebrates all families, if you would talk about how you work with both your parents and your staff and you would be willing to share that, would you get in touch with me at Terry, Terri, Stafford, Stafford, at esc16.net, or feel free to call me at 806-677-5126. Or if you've listened to these 6 schools that have presented and you think, wow, I've got some great things that I would like to share as well, and you would like to be showcased at one of the expos, feel free to reach out to me as well and talk to me about some of the things that you want to share. Very quickly, Matthew is going to share something on the screen, and I want to cover 2 things. One is if you haven't already signed up for our listserv, and our listserv allows you to get any information, and you're among the first to get that information as it goes out. And so if you go onto our website, you can see the website up there in the browser. You can go in and sign up to be on our listserv. And that way you would get flyers, you would get when the newsletter comes out, you would get any new information that's there. And you can just go in, put your name in, as you can see Matthew doing, and just very quickly, we'd only ask those 4 things, and then you're on the listserv. So feel free to go in and fill out that information. And if you notice right below that, right below the listserv, you're going to see where his cursor is, where it says 2021 Promising Practices Application Form. You know, I was writing down all the different things that both of these schools are doing. That's a ton of different things that they could turn in a promising practice for. But also, so you guys that are out there listening, you're doing great work. We would love for you to share just one of your promising practices or 2. In each application, you only share 1 promising practice, and then you can submit another one and another one, however many you want to submit. And then what we're going to do in the spring is we're going to honor 6 schools that we felt like were just doing an amazing job with a particular practice. The deadline's coming up very quickly. We may go ahead and extend it since we're still in a virtual situation, maybe till middle of December, but you do need to get those submitted ASAP. So again, sign up on the listserv, sign up for the promising practices. And then Matthew, if you'll click over on the left-hand side where it says 2020 Best Practices Expo, that's where you all will go to get the handouts and the PowerPoints and the recordings for these 3 expos. If he'll click on, yes, you can see there's already a handout there that'll say the handouts and then the 2 schools that presented. And then when he goes back, there's the recorded session, so you can actually see a copy of the recorded session. So all of that information, and what we will do as soon as we get these Q&As, we'll get with you guys, give you a chance to respond to all of these questions, Sandra and Chancellor. Then we will post a Q&A section on underneath the expo as well.
Great.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. I want to echo what Sandra and Chandler have said. Be sure you have a Merry Christmas and a blessed and happy New Year. Above all, stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of your family. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Let's give them a hand. Guys, y'all are all doing great work, and we'll stay in touch, and I look forward to seeing you at the next expo during the 2nd semester. Take care. Bye-bye.
Guys, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.